Hey YouTube, John here with Sonex Adventures. I just want to mention that there's no paid endorsements here. I am not affiliated with any company around my videos or my airplanes, so just wanted to put that out there and we'll jump into the video. Thanks for watching. Hey YouTube, today we're going to go flying in a little bit of a bumpy crosswind environment. This was the middle of October, and the last few flights this time of year it typically gets either windy and cold, windy, cold, and snow, windy, cold, and rain, but windy being the common factor. On this particular day, it was windy and actually pretty nice, as you'll see from the video, but definitely a maximum crosswind technique type of day. And that's why I do this. You know, you want to go out and fly in ideal conditions whenever possible, but some days you may not end up in ideal weather. Or you may take off in ideal weather and the weather changes while you're en route and you have to deal with it when you come back in. So we had a quartering crosswind on this particular flight, and it was gusting pretty good. It was 15 to 20, gusting up to, I believe, 25. Certainly very challenging conditions, but it was a quartering crosswind, as I mentioned, so it was right near the maximum crosswind for this airplane. Not at, or I wouldn't have gone, but certainly close to, and it was a good practice. So let's go flying, and we'll talk about it as we go. Thanks for watching Sonex Adventures. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon, and you'll get notifications of future videos. All right, we've already done our run up here and called out for takeoff. We're going to be again in a southwesterly crosswind here, so quartering crosswind. This is runway 27. Already called out. This was after work one day. It was a nice day in the middle of October, and had a board meeting at the airport a little bit later in the evening, so I went out early and figured I'd go get flying in. You can see the wind already was creating a little bit of a tail wag there as I was getting some speed. The windsock, it was gusty. You'll see as I pass the windsock here in a sec, right there. It's not terrible right at that particular moment, but it was gusting, so that's what gusting winds do. And I believe it was gusting to 25 on this particular day. And again, you can see how much I'm getting jostled around here as I do my climb out. And again, the image stabilization of the GoPros helps mitigate how bad that actually is. But it was bumpy, for sure. So go ahead and do my climb out here, doing about 110 miles an hour on the climb out here. And just really out here looking for some calmer air. So I'm out here tooling around, heading off to the little bit of the southwest, I believe, because of the way the sun is indicating here. Just out here, so about 100 miles an hour. So again, climbing for a little bit calmer air here, I believe. I end up going up to around 5,000 feet on this particular flight, maybe a little higher than that. Starting to level off here, the airspeed's coming up. And for the camera, I always like to do a few turns just to give it some visual interest as I'm out here typically just burning up hours. And you'll notice I don't have my EFIS, which is Electronic Flight Information System. On this particular flight, again, it was one of those things. I had a board meeting, didn't really think I was going to go flying, and ended up jumping in there, but got ForeFlight on my iPhone here running, but don't have my EFIS panel running on this particular day. And just really working to keep that ball in the center. That's really been something I've been working on in this airplane. I do that a lot in my triplane as well. Coordinated turns are important for a lot of reasons, but just kind of getting a feel for this airplane still, and working to keep the ball in the center there. All right, so here we're coming in the pattern on the downwind. I'm a little further to the south on this day just because those winds were so strong. I do a little bit further out pattern, just knowing I'm going to get pushed toward the runway here, which is off to my left there, looking for my 45 for turn for base here. Slowed down here, doing about 90 miles an hour indicated. I can tell from the flap lever there on the left that I've got no flaps. Strong crosswinds, I don't typically use any flaps. It's just more surface area for wind to grab onto here. But we're looking for the base turn here, and I'll fast forward into that point in the video here. All right, here we are turning base for 27, and I'll have you ride all the way in on this one because the whole point of this video was bumpy crosswinds. And you can see here doing still about 90 miles an hour. Looking around for traffic, checking instruments, just making sure everything looks good. Got my carb heat and fuel pump on. And if you notice, I didn't have my fuel pump on for takeoff. I've read that you should have it on. I've read you should have it off. For safety, probably we'll keep it on unless anybody has some input you want to put in the comments there about should you have it on, should you have it off. Every flight I've done except this one, I've had it on for takeoff and on for landing. So obviously have it on for landing in this particular situation. But as we kind of turn around here, it's going to be hard to see the runway in the sun just because it was getting low on the horizon. This was later in the day, as I mentioned, because I had an obligation right after the flight here for a board meeting. I'm on the board at Fulton County Airport, if you didn't know. And as we're coming in here, just adjusting, again, it's hard to see the runway, if it not at all impossible in my preview here. Yeah, you can see it just off to the right of the EFIS mount. You can see I'm just getting really bumped around here. You know, there's a little bit of pucker factor on this landing. You know you have to nail it, and you know you're going to have to work it hard. And you can just see it. This was certainly one of the bumpiest landings I've ever done. Not the bumpiest, as I've mentioned in other videos, but just holding it on the center line here, keeping that left wing in, just adjusting for that. Hold it, hold it, hold it here, and then left wheel touch. Go, we're on. You can see the windsock there was a little bit more out. Just like I said, it was gusting quarterly. Not an ideal situation. Certainly there's a 4Flight letting me know I've landed. Thanks, 4Flight. I wouldn't have figured that out without your help. And there you go. So bumpy flight, bumpy landing, but another good one in the books. Airplane's usable and I'm walking away from it. So we'll turn off the active here and head on back to the hangar. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And I'll be posting more here soon. Thanks for watching Sonex Adventures. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon, and you'll get notifications of future videos.